Hey, welcome to the Electric Playground. I'm Victor Lucas, and it is time to talk about the games that I am most excited for the rest of 2022. I've already put together a video talking about my 10 favorite games from the beginning of 2022, but there are still several months of new releases headed our way, so I wanted to give you 10 games that I am super psyched for. And yes, we know that there have been some big delays like Starfield and Redfall, and we know that Suicide Squad versus the Justice League has been delayed. A whole bunch of big titles that we were looking forward to, but let's give those developers all the time they need to make those games awesome. There are still lots of things to be excited for this year, and we're going to start with number 10, which is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, this one comes out on October 28th, and of course, we know what we're going to get out of a Call of Duty game. This one's going to have a huge single-player campaign, lots of over-the-top mayhem, Michael Bay-style mayhem. It's going to be outrageous in terms of its action and where we're going to go plot-wise. We're going to be cruising all over the world, taking out terrorists and bad guys everywhere we go. We're part of this Task Force 141, which features a lot of Call of Duty staples. Beautiful visuals in this game, as we would expect from anything developed by Infinity Ward. This is actually the sequel to the 2019 Call of Duty Modern Warfare game, and it gets confusing because Modern Warfare has, of course, popped up as a brand several times now in the Call of Duty universe. But this is an all-new tale, which is going to absolutely take and borrow from imagery and vibes from previous Call of Duty Modern Warfare games. I've always enjoyed this franchise. Mostly I lean into the single-player campaign, and then I get a little bit hooked on multiplayer, and then I have to bounce off. But the campaigns are always just insane and fun, and they always have huge surprises. And there are going to be still lots of surprises as we head on to the release of this game. Infinity Ward is a developer that strives to be the best, and they made arguably one of the best-looking games of the previous generation with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1. So this should be some gorgeous-looking, incredibly value-packed entertainment when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 comes out. And of course, it's also going to have lots of connections to Warzone, and there's new special ops gameplay. So I think Call of Duty fans should expect to be mighty pleased by Modern Warfare 2. Coming in at number 9 is Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which is the sequel to Kingdom Battle, an awesome Switch turn-based strategy game where you play as Mario characters and Rabbids characters. It's a partnership between Ubisoft and Nintendo. The first game was a ton of fun with lots of really clever alterations to the tried and true XCOM style of turn-based strategy that we played for years and years with a lot of cartoon hijinks. And of course, that's all been amplified in this sequel. It's much more open in terms of where you can go and how you can get into combat. There's lots of crazy Mario-esque and Rabbids-esque weapons and moves sets, and the animation looks incredible in this one. It's also going to be a bit of a planet-hopping adventure akin to the Super Mario Galaxy games. You're actually going to be trying to save the Sparks, which are a fusion between the Lumas from Mario Galaxy and the Rabbids from this evil entity known as Cursa. It just looks visually incredible, and it looks really ambitious, and it also looks obviously like the developers learned a ton from Kingdom Battle and its DLC, and I think they're going to surprise us with something really, really addictive and wonderful on Nintendo Switch when Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope comes out on October 20th. September's got a big release, and it's number 8 on my list. It is Splatoon 3, which comes out on September 9th, and of course this is going to feature a tremendous amount of multiplayer fun, including the cooperative horde mode that they call Salmon Run in this, where you play with buds and you try to take down wave after wave of these walking salmon monsters. They're just totally scary and freaky, so it's fun to splat them with paint. And then, of course, you've got Turf War and the various incarnations of shooting ink and paint at each other, which is a great formula. I had no idea how much I would be addicted to playing Splatoon when I first saw the original game, but I really loved Splatoon 1 and 2. So I'm expecting this new game to kind of elevate and take us to new places. We're going to get new weapons and new arenas, of course, but there's also a brand new single-player campaign, and that's something that I don't think people talk about enough with the Splatoon games. The solo player stuff in Splatoon has been wonderful with lots of interesting story bits and different characters. This one's called The Return of the Mammalians, so there's a little bit of, fur on these enemies that you're going to have to deal with, and the tricks and the traps that they're going to leave for you in the solo player campaign. Of course, you're going to be able to customize your character like crazy, and there's going to be lots of bragging rights in the multiplayer component. Of course, Nintendo's going to support this with the esports element as well. Splatoon 2 is still running with new esports tournaments all the time, so expect this to be something that has a very long shelf life. And it's very interesting that Nintendo has found their own way to carve out a space in the shooter, sphere, in the shooter genre, but it's non-violent. And it's crazy fun and so tuned, and I think we should expect some great things out of Splatoon 3 when it comes out on September 9th. We're going to have to wait until December 2nd for Callisto Protocol, which is developed by Striking Distance, a new company from Glenn Schofield, who we all know was the guy that headed up the Dead Space initiative while he was at Electronic Arts. This looks kind of like the spiritual successor to Dead Space, even though there's a remake for Dead Space that's coming, which I think got delayed as well. But Callisto Protocol looks absolutely stunning and completely terrifying. It's a sci-fi survival horror game, so you're running around inside of a space station and there's all kinds of gruesome monsters and creatures and infected individuals that are coming to get you and tear you apart and rip you apart, and there's blood and there's gore and there's goo, and I think it's going to be one of those games where I'm doing this and screaming and Dead Space was horrifying for me and a little bit traumatizing, but I loved it, and I love the commitment to kind of deliver state-of-the-art scares with Dead Space, and I think that's exactly what we're going to expect out of Callisto Protocol. It looks big budget, it looks ambitious as hell, and yes, it looks like you're not going to want to have a big lunch before you start playing this game. One of those types of games, you know what I'm talking about? Got to hold it in. But I can't wait to play Callisto Protocol when it comes out on December 2nd, and that's why it is number 7 on my list. Coming in at number 6 is Marvel's Midnight Suns, which has been developed by Firaxis Games, the company that has brought us the XCOM series. The modern XCOM games are so much fun. This is turn-based strategy with Marvel characters. You're going to create your own character and join this Midnight Suns team, but you're going to be able to play with all of these different Marvel icons and put them into battle against demonic forces. It's a little bit of the Marvel superheroes fighting against magic-powered and supernatural-powered enemies. So there's going to be some incredible visual effects and also some interesting Marvel characters like Ghost Rider and Blade joining forces with the traditional Iron Man and Captain America. This looks like so much fun. I know it looks a little convoluted with the card system, but I have great faith in Firaxis. They've really knocked it out of the park with a bunch of their recent releases, so I expect nothing but super fun times with Marvel's Midnight Suns, and that one is coming out on October 7th. October is so filled with fun stuff. And another October release is Bayonetta 3, which is number 5 on my list. That comes out October 28th. This is from Platinum Games in Osaka, Japan, and this is one of my favorite game studios on Earth. It's also one of my favorite game series that's ever been created. Bayonetta 1 and 2 run like a dream on the Nintendo Switch, and this Switch exclusive looks fantastic. And, honestly, this is a series which kind of challenges perspective in a lot of ways. It's like this beautiful art comes alive and becomes these horrific demons that you have to rip apart with all of your cool magic powers as this incredibly charismatic witch that has guns on her shoes and all of these incredible abilities. And I've just loved the way that this franchise has escalated and over-delivered all the way along, and that's exactly what I'm expecting out of Bayonetta 3. I think it's going to be an excellent addition to the Switch lineup. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year, and I think it's also going to be wonderful to kind of complete the trilogy on this platform. I can't wait. And this game has been long in development. We've had some expectations that it was going to be released much sooner than it actually is coming out to us, but this is a team and a studio that rarely missteps and knows how to tune their games, so they just feel wonderful in the palms of your hand. Cannot wait for Bayonetta 3. Number 4 is a little bit of an interesting choice for me because these are two games that have already hit the PlayStation platforms, but they're coming to PC. I'm talking about Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales. We know the release date of Spider-Man Remastered. It's actually within 2 weeks. August 12th is when Spidey is going to hit the PC, and then Miles Morales is going to be coming out this fall. They're going to have some PC enhancements like ultra-wide support. They're going to have unlocked frame rates, and DLSS tech is going to be available to you when you play this on the PC. Ray tracing, of course. And so these games should run wonderfully on a souped-up hyper powerful PC if you've got one of those. But I am super excited to play both of these titles on the Steam Deck. I can't wait to just lie back on the couch and be lost in two of my favorite superhero games of all time. Honestly, two of my favorite video games of all time. I find both Spider-Man and Miles Morales unbelievably replayable. They are truly go-to games for me whenever I've just got a little bit of time to play, or I just want to forget about the world and just get lost in the swinging mechanics and the combat that these games provide, and even the stealth missions. I love every aspect of these games. All the cut sequences, the incredible acting. They're both masterpieces, and I cannot wait to be able to play them on the Steam Deck. And yeah, of course, I'll check them out on my PC desktop as well. I definitely want to see what they look like in ultra-wide support. But the Spidey revolution on the PC is coming soon. That starts August 12th with Spider-Man Remastered. Now, if we're talking about superheroes and collections, you really cannot beat the Cowabunga collection, which is coming out on August 30th. This is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mega Set. You've got 4 NES games in there. You have 2 Super Nintendo games in there with Turtles in Time and Tournament Fighters. You've got 2 Sega Genesis games in there, Tournament Fighters again, and the Hyperstone Heist. You've got 3 Game Boy games, Fall of the Foot Clan, Back from the Sewers, and Radical Rescue, which I know Radical Rescue is a very expensive title out there. And then from the arcade, you've got the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, plus Turtles in Time. So there is a massive collection of incredible Turtles action to dive back into. But I think what's even more impressive about this game is all of the extra work that Digital Eclipse, the developers, put into this title, archiving all kinds of assets and giving you a real history on the development of these titles. There's going to be online multiplayer and lots of interesting improvements and tweaks and additions, filters, of course, that you can play with. But really, it is just having all of these wonderful games that have really felt like they've been lost to history unless you have been a diehard cartridge collector and have gone out there and tried to scoop all of these things up. I've been obsessed with side-scrolling superheroes. I've made lots of videos about them. I've talked about a bunch of these games already in that series that I put on this channel. But to have them all collected and to celebrate their importance in this medium, I think is just wonderful. And I honestly could not think of better developers to do this than Digital Eclipse. I am so incredibly excited. I love Shredder's Revenge, and like this is just the awesome bookend to that, is to look at all of these titles that influenced Shredder's Revenge and to have them all come out in 2022. It's awesome. And I also hope that this collection is a great inspiration to all of the other license holders out there, Marvel and DC, maybe Spawn games or whatever. It would be great to see more of this type of thing happening. I cannot wait for the Cowabunga collection, and it's coming out soon, August 30th. Another game that has a collection of superheroes that I'm super psyched for, it's number 2. It's Gotham Knights, which is coming out in the very crowded month of October. October 25th is when this game hits. It's from Warner Brothers Games Montreal that brought us Arkham Origins, the criminally underappreciated Arkham Origins. I can't wait to play as Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, and a little bit as Red Hood. I'm not crazy about Red Hood because he's kind of a psychopath. He's got guns. Batman is dead in the story in this one, and we're going to be chasing down Batman's rogues gallery, so lots of Batman villains that we know and love from Batman lore. The Bat family's on it. They're going to go and get them. There's also the Court of Owls, so you're going to be taking down Talons. You're going to be able to work together in 2-player cooperative, although there are some rumors and some speculation that 4-player co-op might factor into this game. Might be just sequences or segments or a mode or something, but it would be great to be able to have all 4 of these characters work together, being played by individuals online and collaborating. That would be incredible. But of course, even if you play this game in solo, which this game has been built from the ground up to accommodate, you're going to see this incredible cast of characters, and you're going to be able to solve this great mystery and determine whether, in fact, Bruce Wayne is truly, in fact, dead in this game. I am a huge Batman nerd and a fan, and I cannot freaking wait for this game. It's going to feel like the closest thing we've gotten to the Arkham experience in many a year in terms of a new experience, so I cannot wait for Gotham Knights. That's hitting October 25th. And I know you can guess my number one. It is God of War Ragnarok, which hits on November 9th. This is the big sequel to the Sony Santa Monica masterpiece, the original God of War, which lit up the PlayStation 4, and now you can play it in backwards compatibility on PlayStation 5, and you can play it on PC, even on the Steam Deck. So it's going to be wild to see where this team has taken this franchise and how much they have learned and how much they have built into this sequel. Atreus is a teenager now. He's much more willful. He stands up to Kratos. But that father-son dynamic is a wonderful thing to behold and something so wholly unexpected in the original God of War. I did not expect to be as emotionally invested in that game as I was, and I think many of you were as well. So it's going to be cool to see the growth in that relationship and also the growth in terms of reaching out into Norse mythology and interacting with various gods and monsters from that era. It's going to be super cool. Thor, obviously, is a huge element that has been revealed already, but one thing that we know with the Sony Santa Monica team and PlayStation in general, especially with regards to their solo player story games like this, is that they always have lots of really shocking surprises. And that's what I'm expecting out of God of War Ragnarok. Something that I have thought about and posited, I think, in a previous video is perhaps there's going to be some cooperative element in there. Atreus is feeling much more powerful and much more aware of his power in the snippets of gameplay and story bits that we've seen in trailers for God of War Ragnarok, so it would not shock me. I mean, it would shock me in a very pleasant way, but it wouldn't be an out-of-nowhere surprise for me to hear that there's some kind of cooperative element in this new God of War experience. But regardless, even if it's just fully single player, I'm expecting big things. I think this is going to be one of the Game of the Year contenders. It's going to be butting up against monsters like Elden Ring for sure. But God of War Ragnarok looks incredible. I cannot wait to fire it up on the PlayStation 5 and to get lost for many hours in this cold, brutal, but beautiful world that Sony Santa Monica is building for us. All right, there's my list of the 10 games that I'm most hyped for in the rest of 2022. I want to now read your lists for the games that you are most excited for. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back soon with brand new content for you. And in the meantime, don't forget to play forever.